So we're going to start this video off, but before we do, I wanted to say again, I posted something a while back. I'm still kind of looking for the right candidate. I am hiring right now. I'm looking for a new technician, an apprentice that I'd be willing to train as long as you have some sort of schooling. I'm possibly considering an experienced technician, but you got to be experienced. You know, it's going to be, you're going to have to be a unicorn, right? You got to be that perfect technician. And no offense to anybody that I haven't responded to or replied to their resumes. You have to understand, you know, it's easier for me to train an apprentice in the ways that I want things done than it is for me to train an experienced technician. So I'm always looking for the right technician, but that is like a diamond in the rough, finding that person that fits. Now, the criteria of working with me, for me, is you need to live local to Riverside, California, okay? I can't have you driving, because everybody drives into the office every morning, okay? They drive a work vehicle, but still, they drive into the office every morning. I can't have people driving 45 minutes to an hour to the office every day. That's not practical, okay? You need to live local to Riverside, California, so that way you have a short commute into the office. I don't want anybody to have that horrible commute every single day. Trust me, you don't want a commute like that. I used to commute an hour and a half to work every day. 3 hours of my life was spent in traffic, not normal traffic, 3 hours extra outside of my work area. It's a nightmare, okay? You got to live local to Riverside, California, so that way you don't have a super long commute because, yes, again, we do drive into the office every single day. But anyways, I'm looking for a technician. If you're interested, if you want to work with me, you see the kind of work that I want to do, you see the kind of stuff I work on every day, shoot me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. I really appreciate you, and let's get on with the video. All right, today we have a service call on a front entry AC that is not working. The customer says the thermostat is blank. Just doing a visual right now before I grab my tools. I'm gonna have them on the roof, but I don't see any indication in here. I don't even need a meter. There's no indication of power. Normally there's a heartbeat light right there. Something's happening here. So let's move on down the line. Nothing crazy here. This is our disconnect switch. Oh, well, when the disconnect is off, that means the AC doesn't work. That's in the off position. All right, why is it off though? Did someone leave it off for a reason? Does it have a bad compressor? We don't just turn it on. So let's proceed with evaluating whether or not this actually has power right here, and then check to see if there's any direct shorts to ground on the unit side of things, to make sure nothing funky is going on. All right, that ground wire is something special. Definitely try to fix that before I leave. So we're checking incoming power, 206. This is a three-phase system, 208 three-phase system. So we have three-phase power coming to this disconnect switch. Now what we need to know is if there's a problem with it. So what we are going to do is ground this guy out. Nothing. We're just looking to see if we have any direct shorts to ground that this meter will pick up. This doesn't indicate that everything's okay. There could still be other problems. Nothing there. Nothing there. No direct shorts to ground as of yet. So now we're going to open up in here. And what I checked was the incoming side. So power comes out of here, then it should route all the way over to here and land on these wires right here on the top of this disconnect switch, or the top of this contactor, and then it jumps over to this contactor and then feeds to everything that it needs to. So what I checked by checking grounds was from that point right there to this point, is there anything shorted to ground? And nothing showed up with the meter. So now we're going to check the load side of the contactors, which is going to check the indoor blower motor and the compressor to see if there's anything grounded there. I dig these little alligator clamps that the field piece meters have, because you can connect them and you can do one with still a normal probe. So confirm, we're still testing for continuity with the audible tone. So we'll check the line side, which we already checked technically. We're just looking for any obvious shorts. This isn't doing an insulation test on the motors or anything. Now we're doing the load side, the bottom side of the contactors. Because these contactors, when they pull in, they allow power to pass through, but when they're disengaged like they are right now, they wouldn't allow power to pass through. So if you assume just checking at the disconnect switch that there was no grounds or no direct shorts to ground, you may be incorrect. Okay, so now we check the load side of the contactors. We're not seeing anything. Very carefully, I'm gonna pull this Molex plug off this compressor just to make sure. I mean, that looks like clean as day one. Looks nice and good. Don't see any issues there. We'll just check it for giggles. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Again, we're still grounded right here, so that's good. So this thing might just have been left off by like the filter changing company or something. It's possible. All right, I am going to go ahead and repair this connector right here. So I got to go downstairs, shut off power just to be safe. We'll put a proper connector on there so it's truly grounded and not just hanging on like 3 wires. Like, look at that. Look at how it's coming off. So I'll connect that real quick and then we'll turn power on and troubleshoot the rest of the unit. All right, I went ahead and put a connector on there. We're good to go. That's nice and tight. It's grounded like it should be. This motor, we're off at the thing, but this belt is borderline too tight. Like, really. The pulley's not bad though, but I mean, it's there. It's just, I feel like maybe I might need to loosen that up a little bit. There's a bunch of trash in here. That's nice. You can tell there's some sort of growth going on inside there on the wires. This is an old unit, old R22 unit. Indoor blower wheel doesn't look too bad. Okay. It's like, I don't know if this is a good belt or not. Yeah, it looks like it's still fine for a spare. It's used, but we'll leave it in there just for emergencies. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Please don't blow up. Let's see what happens. So power's on. Blower's gonna start. That's fine. I want to see it start. So I wonder how long this has been off. Again, we still don't know why it turned off, you know. It could be simply that someone left it off. Or it could be that someone turned it off for a reason. All right, I'm gonna start putting these panels on, but I wanna leave this one off, but I wanna put this one on because there's no need for this one to be off. I think we have our answer. On 3/6/24, there was brand new filters put in this unit and they don't look like they have ran. So it was either off before then or that was when it got shut off. Why the heck is the heater on? Well, might as well let it cycle. I don't understand why there's a W1 call. I don't think it's cold in the dining room, but we'll let it be and we'll let it turn the heater on. We'll test it. It's currently May 1st. So it's probably about 76 degrees, 75 degrees outside. It's probably in the 70s inside the building because it was a cool night overnight. So heater's running. Yeah. Furnace or the gas-fired heater ignited, so that's a plus. Still haven't started our indoor blower yet, but that's normal because it's waiting for the heat exchanger to get hot before it fires it on. So again, we're just observing. We're not jumping to conclusions yet. Just kind of seeing what the unit does. I'll go downstairs in a few minutes and turn it into cooling because their complaint is that it's too hot in the dining room. Indoor blower's running. So that's good. This guy is running. Condenser fan motor's running. Compressor's running. Seems okay. Checking temperatures. Outside air is 70. Let's see if the sensors are any good. Return air is 69. Discharge air is 52. Okay. Let's see what we got going on over here. Sensors might not be accurate. Let's see if they are. Yeah, they're a little bit off. So we got a 50-degree discharge. So it's got about a 19-degree temperature differential. Don't really see a major problem with that. This is an older unit, so I don't know that I necessarily see a need to put service gauges on this guy, being that it was just off at the disconnect switch. Discharge is hot. Suction. Nice cool suction. Everything seems okay. Condenser fan motor's working. I mean, don't see a need to reinvent the wheel here. This restaurant does need a cleaning. Outside air filters are dirty, kitchen AC is dirty. We're going to be coming back. I've actually got some other work I have to do for them later this week, so we'll be coming back, clean this. They're also complaining about their kitchen AC because it's a little dirty. They're saying it's not cooling in the office. But they actually have a new manager here that just came from another store that used to have an amazing air conditioning system. And this is a really old restaurant and they don't have an amazing air conditioning system, and the building's really old, so I have a feeling their complaint of the kitchen AC not working is more or less a nuisance call. But I noticed when I walked in the door, the outside air for the building is negative, and the bird screens right here where we pull outside air through are very, very dirty on all the ACs, so they all need to be cleaned. All right, we are back today. I am going to clean, there's a bunch of returns that are really dirty, so we're gonna pull these down and clean them. We had to come back on a morning. When I was leaving on the last day, I walked around and noticed these, so I don't got any customers in the building right now, so I'm gonna pull these down and clean them, give these ACs a fighting chance, and then we're gonna go up and look at their kitchen AC too. Okay, it's much better than it was, but it needs to be replaced because the egg crate is all damaged and messed up. But I put it back up and we're gonna go look at the rest of them. All right, we got this AC all cleaned up, condenser cleaned. We're currently running it and letting the system stabilize. We wanna make sure the condenser's dry, but it's almost there. It's been running for a little bit. We're all probed up on this guy. This is their kitchen AC, and they're complaining that it's, you know, hot. So a couple things. This is a nuisance AC. Like, we get these calls all the time on this AC, and it's doing everything it can. Essentially, what this customer needs is a complete reduct downstairs inside the kitchen, and it is an absolute nightmare to do that. And the customer has always pushed, you know, not wanted to do that. So in order to do a reduct, we're talking probably about a week, pulling the drop ceiling down, doing a little bit at a time because they would have to be a functioning kitchen. So it's gonna be a lot of work, and they've always kind of pushed back because they've made it through the summers. Inevitably, I think that's what needs to be done because the ductwork is pinched in multiple spots. It's not making good connection. It's old school flex duct, so it's undersized. It's just a nightmare. But these kitchens are so tight, it's so hard to get in there. So we need to make sure this AC is working as best as it can, you know, how it stands. So I have the unit on a full call for cooling from the thermostat downstairs. We verified that's all good. We're probed up on it. We've got all of our temperature and pressure probes, and let's go have a look. It's not too bad, but there's some things that could use some love. So first stage, it's 410A. Superheats a little bit on the high side. But let's see what the target should be. Measure Quick saying 10 degrees. That's, you know, they don't know what Lennox wants, but typically I'd like to see about 10 degrees. That subcooling's really low at 0.2, okay? According to Measure Quick, my head pressure's a little bit low. Saturation temperature's a little bit low. That's typical. Let's see. So it's 67 degree saturation temperature. Okay, 67 degree liquid temperature, which is kind of strange, right? Let's look at our outdoor air is 63 degrees, okay. Let's go ahead and scroll on over to the second stage and see how the second stage is looking. Now let's give it a second. Second stage is looking a lot better. Subcooling's a little bit higher, so we actually have subcooling. Superheat, you know, it's a little bit lower, a hair on the low side, to be honest with you. Saturation temperature for the low side, 34 degrees. I mean, that's not horrible. It's low though because there's not a huge load inside the building. We have a 72 degree saturation temperature for the high side, a 68 degree liquid line temperature. Let's look right here. We have a 23.5 degree temp split, and we have about 2,400 CFMs of estimated airflow based on the indoor conditions. That's the software that's doing that. So we're technically a little bit low on the airflow, but some things to understand. I always talk about this. We're looking at a package unit. Ideally, your temperature sensors are all the way down inside the building, at the return air grill down in the building, and at the first supply diffuser in the building. They have so many problems here that's like so difficult to get to. I'm gonna let this run for a little bit longer, and we're probably gonna look into putting a little bit of refrigerant in the first stage, get the subcooling number up a little bit higher. It seems like the second stage is trying its best at that TXV. It's kind of modulating a little bit, 8 to 10 degrees, okay? Seems relative, subcooling about 3 degrees. But that first stage, we're just definitely looking low, and the superheat's looking high. When I've got probes on the unit, I can still charge. All I do is have a hose that has 2 ball valves, okay? It's connected to the low side right there. The actual pressure probe's inside the unit at the evaporator. So right here, and what you do is just slightly crack this, so it's slightly venting, just while it's purging, basically. Okay, so there we go. We've cleared the line of any non-condensables, and now we can go ahead and flip it over. And I weighed it before I brought it up. This drum weighed 18 pounds. So that way when I take it down, which I realistically don't think I'm gonna put any more than a pound in this, probably not even that much, because this is a micro channel, it barely takes any gas. So we will check out and see what it does. Paying attention to the gauges and just barely cracking this a little bit at a time. It's super easy to overcharge a micro channel. So we're just slowly metering it in, paying attention to the numbers. You definitely want to give it some time. We're up at about 3.5 degrees of subcooling. We're gonna let it stabilize out for a bit, make sure it kind of makes its way through. Again, this is micro channel, so I can't stress, you need to be super careful about overcharging these. This is about where we're gonna leave it. The superheat is still kind of ranging, but it's coming up. It's sitting there. So this is first stage. We added a couple ounces, not that much. Second stage, it's kind of doing the same. Superheat's kind of ranging. You can't really do too much more. This unit is doing everything that it can. Delivered capacities, just under 90,000 BTUs. It's a 7.5 ton unit, so it's a 90,000 BTU unit. There's not much more we can do on this unit. Like I said, they need a complete reduct downstairs because all the ductwork is messed up. They're not getting proper airflow. I can guarantee you it's undersized because all this ductwork is from, like, probably, if I had to guess, this restaurant's probably 1990 to 1992, somewhere in there. And everything was undersized then. And I don't even know what the original tonnage of the equipment that was here was. Oftentimes, people upsized. I've seen that many times where this might have been a 6 ton and now it's a 7.5 ton. I don't know, you know, it's hard to say. But this unit is doing everything that it can without a complete reduct for the ductwork. Obviously that gas line can be repaired and stuff, but that's it on this one. While we're here, we're hosing everything else off. All the metal mesh filters, trying to help with the air balance. These old makeup air units are just beat down, so we're sizing them up so we can give them a quote for replacement. There's no cooling media, so we just need dry cooled units. We are by the coast. I would love to say in a perfect world they put DX cooled, like the captive air makeup air units with air conditioning condensers on top and evap coils inside, but I don't know if the customer is going to want to go there, so we're just going to get all the information so we can quote it. This AC is working like it should be. Everything's been fine, no complaints about this one. We rinsed everything off on that too. Open this up, make sure there's no codes. Nope, no active codes, unit's satisfied. I did have to adjust the thermostats downstairs because the customer had them all out of whack and they weren't set right, so we reprogrammed all their thermostats, got them set up. So that's it. You know, you can't always be perfect with these things. We try our best. But, you know, sometimes you're just polishing a turd. Actually, a lot of the times you're just polishing a turd. So we'll talk to the customer about a reduct too, but, you know, most of the time they don't want to do that stuff. So sometimes with these old restaurants, you know, you don't know the way that they want to go. They don't necessarily want to fix everything and make it absolutely perfect because the cost to be able to do that is astronomical. We need to do a reduct on this building, right? The makeup air units, I mentioned the makeup air units at the end of the video. The makeup air units need to be reducted too. They need to be replaced and reducted. The hoods need to be air balanced. Everything needs to be tightened up and fixed. But sometimes on these really old buildings, the costs are so astronomical to make them operate like a brand new building that, you know, they don't want to spend that kind of money. So it's interesting. They already, you know, just looking at the amount of repairs that need to be made to this building, they're going to have to put a whole new roof on it. The roof is disastrously trashed. So that's inevitable. They have to do that. And then, I mean, they do need to start considering some of these things, but some of these repairs are going to be super expensive, and or they might have to close for a little bit to be able to do some of these. I mean, in a perfect world, they close the restaurant down for a week and they tackle a crap ton of these things, you know, that way they can work 24/7, knock it out. But that's not really how restaurants work. You know, a lot of times they want the work to be done while they're still operating. So that makes the price go way up because, you know, in order to replace, you know, you can only replace like one 20-foot section of duct, then you got to put all the ceiling back, and so that way they can operate, because you can't leave the ceiling opened up with an operating kitchen. It has to be, for health reasons, that kitchen ceiling has to be closed up all the time. So I don't understand, you know, the other side of things. I'm just from an operational standpoint. I know the work that would have to be done, and I know how difficult it's going to be to do it in an operating kitchen. You know, basically we can work from 7 a.m. till about 9 a.m. You got about 2 hours worth of a window. Then you got to start cleaning up. So you have everything cleaned up and put back together by 10 a.m. so they can start prepping for their 11 a.m. open time, right? And then the kitchen's operational, and you can only do limited work in an operating kitchen because you have food safety stuff to worry about. So working in kitchens is its own challenges. And I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong for approving repairs or not approving repairs. I'm saying, I'm just laying out the details, because it's a difficult process working in some of these things, and you have limited windows to be able to do this kind of work. But we initially got called for a front entry AC. You know, I evaluated the AC. It was off at the disconnect. You don't just turn disconnects on. You know, we checked to make sure it wasn't shut off for a reason. We couldn't find one. We turned it back on. The unit's operating. Had a decent temperature differential between return and supply on the AC. Now, that's not a performance metric that you should always use, but in a situation like this where I had a pretty good feeling it was just left off, I don't think we needed to proceed any further. Now, they were complaining about the kitchen AC being hot. Specifically, they were complaining about the office being hot, which the office has one single supply, and they've crammed a crap ton of equipment into there. Computer equipment, stereo equipment, all kinds. There's a server in there. There's all kinds of stuff. And it's just off-putting a crap ton of heat. And, you know, the air conditioning that's being supplied into that room just can't keep up, right? There's already been a return jumper duct added to try to relieve some of the pressure from the air going into there from the very small pinch down supply diffuser that they have. But the entire kitchen is full of pinch down ductwork because they've done so many renovations in this restaurant over the years that, you know, people just start running things over ductwork, pinching it down. Ductwork doesn't have good places to go. It's a nightmare. It is a absolute flex duct nightmare in that attic. Inevitably, we're going to have to fix it eventually, right? But, you know, I don't know when that's going to be approved. But so the kitchen, I think the kitchen was more of a nuisance call. I did find what it looked to be potentially a little bit low on refrigerant on that first stage. Didn't find any leaks right now. But, you know, I don't know if that's really going to make a huge performance difference. You know, I just did my best to make sure it was operating as best as possible. It is a dumpster fire. That whole AC needs to be, you know, that gas line needs to be fixed on a lot of those units. It's a mess, you know, in these places. So we just do our best. It's like polishing a turd, right? I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video as usual. If you haven't already, please consider checking out my website, hvacrvideos.com. We got merchandise available there. Great way to help support the channel. Hats, beanies, sweatshirts, all that good stuff. Few t-shirts left. We also have a couple other ways that you can support the channel if you're interested in doing so. The easiest way is really obvious. Just watch the videos from beginning to end. That really is the easiest way to support the channel. You can also support the channel via PayPal, Patreon, or YouTube channel memberships. Those are all monthly commitments that people choose to make for, you know, whatever dollar amount they want, and it just charges your credit card whatever you want to charge it. You know, as a perk for YouTube channel members, it's really easy for me to make the videos. Typically, I try to make them available to YouTube channel supporters, channel members. Unfortunately, it's kind of difficult for me to make them available to Patreon and PayPal supporters. So YouTube supporters, basically channel members, typically if I get the videos done early, like I'm editing this on a Saturday, so you're going to have early access to it at post Sunday afternoon. So usually you'll have early access to the video a day before or something like that. Just one little thing. But anyways, those are a few different ways you can support the channel. Last but not least, if you go to truetechtools.com, check out some of the tools they have on their website. A lot of my tools that I use, I get from truetechtools.com. And if you use my affiliate code, big picture, one word, On most of the items on their website, you'll get an 8% discount, and then I get a small commission. So that's another great way to help support the channel. So again, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one.